Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Labor Day Dirtcross drivers meeting. I'm Keto.
I'm Katie. And this drivers meeting has two parts. You're going to watch this part, and then linked in the little notes is a link to a how to read rallycross cones video. So please be sure, especially if you are new to rallycross, that you watch this one all the way through. We'll try and keep it exciting and watch that cone video as well. So this is for the Labor Day Dirtcross. You have an email in your inbox with all the event information you should need. It's going to have the schedule, what to expect, maybe a little bit of advice for what to pack, all kinds of great stuff. So please be sure to read that all the way through. When you arrive at the event, you're going to sign a waiver at the gate. You're going to pay $10 cash only. That goes directly to the venue. So be sure to be prepared for that. And then you're going to be directed to the paddock area where you can park and get set up. This venue does allow camping, and it's encouraged. Camping at the Labor Day event is always super, super fun. But the space is a little bit tight. So be sure to just be thoughtful. Don't take up a boatload of room. Just be compact with your area. But you'll get set up. And if it is race morning, you're going to get ready to go through tech inspection. We're talking about tech inspection?
Yeah, so tech inspection will be a little bit different for this race because it's a night race. We will have the regular checkpoints where we are going to check, make sure that the wheels aren't going to fall off. Check your brake pedal, make sure that the car's empty. We ask that when you go to tech that you bring your car through as you would when you're racing, like with the wheels and tires that you're going to race, empty all your floor mats out, so on and so forth. We're also going to check your throttle return. We're going to check and make sure that your battery positive is covered. And that brings us to your lights. Yes.
Helmet.
Oh yeah, I mean you
got to bring your helmet, and we're going to check that too.
Bring your helmet, yes. So with the lights, we need you to make sure that you have headlights and that you have taillights, and that we are hoping that you have hazard lights. So we need to make sure that you have lights that'll work, because we're going to race at night and part of the track is going to be very, very dark. And then we also want to make sure that you have taillights so we can see it. And then one of the procedures is that if you have to stop out on course, the mechanical or a D-beat or something like that, what you do is you put your hazards on, and then that signals to us that you have a problem. Okay. I think
Headlights,
that's it.
taillights.
Yep. Hazards.
UTVs don't have hazards? Do we have
They don't have hazards. So for UTV guys who don't have hazards, what I'll just have you do is when you get to a stop, you can put your parking brake on and then tap your brake lights as if it were hazards to simulate the same thing.
Great. Yeah. So you've gone through tech, your lights work, you passed inspection. We're going to have you check in. At check-in, we're going to check your driver's license. We're going to confirm your number. So part of tech is to make sure that you have good visible numbers on the side of your car. And your class. We'll confirm that you're in the right class. We'll get all that set up for you. And then you can take time to walk the course. So one thing to know about this event is that you will have 2 race sessions in a single day. So you'll have a day race session. We usually do about 3 runs, always course and weather permitting, but day race session. We will take a break, and then we will do a night race session. Mm-hmm. It's the same course from day to night, but it's very different when you're running it and you can't see. So take time, give yourself plenty of time. This event starts later in the day. Mm-hmm. Walk the course multiple times. Be sure you're familiar with it.
Yeah. And consider that break your dinner break, mm-hmm. So get something to eat and drink and all that sort of stuff during that time period.
Yep.
Plan on it. We give you enough time, mm-hmm. Because we're waiting for sun to set to mm-hmm. start running.
Yep. So that is a great point. So you're going to go through tech. You're going to go through check-in. You're going to walk the course. Mm-hmm. Then you will race. There'll be a work assignment in there. We will take the dinner break, and then we will race again, race and work, and that's your day.
That's right. And that is all one race, just to be super clear. So, when we talk about the rules, different, stipulations of the rules about what can happen inside of one race,
good point.
The day and the night combined are one race.
Yep. So you've done all that. It's time to race. You're going to get to the start line. You're going to do 1 parade lap. And then what do they need to do to be ready to race?
what do they need to be ready to race? Well, I mean, you know, when they get up to the start line, they should have their seatbelt on, helmet strapped. If you have a cigarette, it should be put out. No one holding cameras or phones in the passenger seat, you know. Yeah.
And if it's nighttime, lights on.
Yes.
We will tell you at the start line, but
yes. So that actually brings something up. So when you come up to the start line, we would really like, and we know that a lot of you have put a lot of work into some really fantastic and exceptionally bright headlights that are aiming both straight ahead and at a 45-degree angle, so you can see around the corner. If you haven't done that, you should. So what we're hoping is that you guys will actually leave them off until you get right up to the start line. The start person, anyone up there, it's just going to be terribly blinding, going from intense light to dark, back and forth. It's just going to wreck their vision. So if you just, you know, leave them off, and right when you get to the start line and it's about time to go, kick all your lights on.
we'll all be impressed. Don't worry.
Yeah, we will be. Yeah, we'll all go ooh all at once. We promise.
All right. So they're out on course.
Yes.
And they see a red flag. What do they do?
Yeah. So if it is the daytime, you'll see a red flag if there is a problem, and you'll come to a stop as quickly as you can. We do have some areas that are elevated, so again, it's really important not to just slam on your brakes and go spinning off course. And then you'll just wait for a course worker to come up to you and tell you what to do, whether it's to continue driving, shortcut it, whatever it is. But they will give you direction, and then you'll follow those directions, right?
Now, sometimes you are the cause of the red flag. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So if you are the cause of the red flag, you get a DNF, or
I was setting you up for the D-bead conversation.
the DB. Yes. Well, that was the other thing where I was headed. So you may have a D-bead. We do red flag people for D-beads. Just for the obvious reason, this car is listing to one side, it can dig in, it can create a rollover. And, you know, we may ask you to go through the course. When you get to finish, we'll ask that you follow the direction there. Usually we'll have you drive around the finish, the side where the timing box isn't on. We don't want you to cut the hose with the edge of the wheel, so we may send you around it. You have 10 minutes to fix your first D-bead. Your second D-bead will just be a DNF, so make sure that you add a little extra air if you get a D-bead for the future. And yeah,
so
that's it.
So just to be clear, the first run, if you get a D-bead and we red flag you, you get an opportunity to go fix it and rerun that lap.
Correct.
The second one, we just scored as a DNF.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you don't use your 10 minutes for a D-bead. Can you use it for anything else?
You can. So you have a 10-minute timeout, as we call it. You have the opportunity to use it at any time, but just know that if you use it, you lose it. If you use even 30 seconds of it, you lose all of the 10 minutes. You don't get to parcel it out. Your 10 minutes starts when you are at, supposed to be at the line racing. So if something happens and you need to fix it, you have the opportunity between runs to fix it. You can go into your paddock, you can make whatever repairs, as long as you get back to the line in time for your turn. You are not charged with the 10 minutes. If you think you can't make it back, then you need to let us know. You either let timing or grid know, and then we'll keep track of when it's your turn and then start a clock. If you get back before your time, we haven't used any of your time, you still have your 10 minutes if we haven't had to click the stopwatch. Yeah.
And earlier he mentioned that everything, like the whole day is one event. So you get 1 10-minute timeout per both, like inclusive day and night racing.
That's
so
right.
Once per Saturday and once per Sunday.
That is correct.
I made that harder than it needed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do they do if they see a cone down on course?
Oh, you have two choices. You can just drive as if the cone doesn't exist, Or you can stop and you can point at the cone, at which point a course worker should signal to you that they see what you're doing. And then what I'd like you to do is continue on with the course as close to race speed as you feel comfortable. You don't have to drive slow. We prefer if you drive fast so that the car behind you doesn't catch you. It's also to your advantage because then you get a look at the course at basically race speed and get a rerun. If you decide not to stop and point at the cone and drive through it, you get to the next element, then you are done. You can't come back and you know, say, oh, there was a cone down on course and this will, you know, you have to stop on course and point it out. You know, if the cone is down, it means it doesn't count. Also means you can shortcut it. So you might want to think about that as well before you come to a stop. You know, Murphy's Law is if you do on your next rerun, you're going to hit 2 cones. But, you know, if
you stop on course and point to the cone, you get the captain's attention. They tell you to continue at race speed. We will give you a rerun. Just to state that outright. Yes. We will give you a rerun if you point to the cone and the course worker sees it. All right, so it's a lot about racing. That is half of your day. The other half of your day will be spent doing a work assignment. Most of you, your work assignment will be on course. This is our dog just bumped the table, sorry. This is a required part of the race day, so you must stick around and do your work assignment. When you're out on course, you're gonna wear an orange vest. You are going to be on your feet all of the time, unless we say we're taking a tractor break or any kind of break. Otherwise, you have to be on your feet at all times so you could be safe and ready to react if you need to. We need you to have your eyes on the cars at all times. So you should sort of be watching them go through your corner. It's really important that you're aware both of your surroundings just for safety, but also if a car hits a cone, it's important that you see it happen. We do not want penalties called in if you did not actually witness it taking place. So if you're chatting with your friend and then you turn around and see a cone's down, you cannot call it in on any driver, even if you're like, oh, I'm sure it was the last guy. We can't have that. You have to see it go down. So it's really important that you know your section, you know what cones you're responsible for, you know where your cones stop and the next corner's cones start. So just be sure to work with your neighbors and know exactly what's going on. Every corner will have a captain. The captain will have a radio. They will be sort of in charge. So if a cone gets hit, you're going to put it back where it's supposed to be and then signal to them. They will make the radio call in. You cannot, and I cannot stress this enough, have your phone out during your work assignment. We have seen an influx of people after events posting videos from their work assignment. That is, we have a 0 tolerance policy. You will be asked not to come back if that happens in the future. It's just a super huge safety risk. If you're looking at your phone and not looking at the cars, like we have to draw a much harder line because this has been popping up too much. So. No, but it also means not making phone calls, not texting, you know, all those sort of things, watching videos, any of those sort of things. Yep. You're not out there for too long. Put it in your pocket, you're back at the paddock, please. And if you need to check your phone, it's super important. We do have periods of time where we go cold, where we're going to do watering or something like that. That'll give you the opportunity. You can quickly check your messages and whatnot. So your captain will have a red flag or a flashlight. And so we want to talk a little bit about what this is the flashlight, what the protocol is for using the flashlight. So at night, we can't see red flags. So instead we use these flashlights, very similar to what they use for directing traffic. But one neat little trick to this is that it changes colors from green to red, as you can see. So when course is hot, we should see all green flashlights. If somebody calls for red flag for your comm, then you go to red, okay? If they don't seem to be seeing your red cone, the cone does come off. I don't want to shine this directly at the camera because you guys won't get the effect, but if you shine this in towards somebody's face as they're driving towards you, it is a bright red light and that should catch their attention. Okay, so it's just pretty simple. We're going to be looking for green or red. And
And
If a cone goes down, you can't find it, you need the light, you can pop
Yes.
the cone off and use that to spot what's going on in your area.
that is also correct. You also have a white light here you can switch to and you can spot it. Let me be really clear here. So at night, there is the added risk. You have to remember, even though you're wearing a reflective vest, they cannot see you as well. They don't see you as far ahead. You know, they may see you just right before they hit you. So let's just be extra careful when it comes to putting cones back out on course. Make sure that we're clear. If again, you feel at any time like the gap isn't good, don't go for it. I know that it can be a little confusing about judging how close the car is with the bright lights. So again, if you get to a point where you're like, ooh, I'm not really sure, the answer is stay off the course until they go by, and then go put the cone down right after the car went by is your safest point.
Yeah.
And I just want to stress that at night that it is more dangerous. We haven't had any incidents, and I would like to keep it that way forever and ever.
Please. This also rings true for daytime. If there's
Yes.
a cone down and you don't feel like you can safely get to it before the next car comes,
Yes.
don't get it after that car. And you can even let your captain know that maybe you need a bigger gap.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
okay, one last thing about coursework, two last things about courseworking. One, please dress for the elements. One of your work assignments will be at night. It is going to cool off. We've had a lot of hot days recently, but like still remember it cools off at night. So keep that in mind. The other thing is course watering.
Yeah.
Hannegan.
So course watering. So rule number one, don't be like Scuba Steve. Those of you who don't know, we had a little bit of an excessive watering situation. So there are a series of hoses out on course, and occasionally we will call for watering of the course. So you will run over to the hose and you will spray down the surface. What we want to do is we want to wet the surface for dust. We don't want to saturate it to grow rice. So we would just like the surface covered just for mostly for dust mitigation. So just take it kind of easy, realize, the bottom of the hills and so on are going to collect the water, and, you guys will see, and we'll do our best out there, but, yeah, let's try not to
think of it as like
overwater.
a sprinkle, not a puddle.
Yeah.
So we'll talk you all through that at the event, but just know that that's going to be part of the course working responsibilities. So that's the event in a nutshell. A couple other things: when you are camping, please take care of your area, pick up your trash, leave the place better than we found it. You're going to see a bunch of tear-offs from the motocross folks. They leave their little visor tear-offs. Go and pick those up. Might as well do a little litter control while we're out there, but let's just leave the area as clean as we can. Dogs, family, everybody's welcome. Please have your dogs on a leash. By please, I mean you must have your dogs on a leash. This is one venue where they've explicitly told us like they have a zero tolerance policy for off-leash dogs. They've had a dog run out on course and it didn't go well. So let's not do that. Pick up after them, the whole shebang. Pro tip, you are going to be packing, prepping, doing things at nighttime. So bring some flashlights, bring a headlamp if you have one. Just be prepared for the fact that we're doing nighttime things. There are infield lights at the venue, but that doesn't mean everywhere is going to be well lit. So just be prepared, bring some lights.
And those, the infield, so there will be some lights in the parking area that will stay on at night, but there's additional lights that will be on while we're there running that will be shut off when we're done running. So it will get significantly darker after we leave.
That is true.
Yes.
All right. Be sure to read your email all the way through. Watch the cone video, please. If you have any questions, you can send us an email, info@nwrallyassociation.com.
Yep.
Otherwise, thanks for being part of this event. Can't wait to see y'all.